DeepSeek 3.1, the ultimate 1.5 hour course. Today, I'm going to show you everything that you need to know. Now, DeepSeek have just released a brand new update. You can see that has just been rolled out this week. So DeepSeek V3.1 is out now. This is a huge boost in reasoning performance, stronger front-end development skills, smarter tool use capabilities. I'll be showing you how to automate basically anything, build anything that you want, use AI agents if you want to, and you can do all of this for free with APIs or just directly in the chat. I'll show you exactly how to get access to it. This is one of the most powerful models in the world, plus it's completely free to access. Now, if you're wondering, okay, what are the benchmarks like? What's the difference here? So you can see DeepSeek version 3 in light blue over here and DeepSeek V3.1 in dark blue. You've also got this compared to Qwen Max, GPT 4.5, which is their latest model, Claude 3.7, which is also their latest model and one of my favorites previously. And you can see for many of the benchmarks, for example, like maths, DeepSeek V3.1 is absolutely smashing it. The same for Amy, you can see right here, and the same for Live Code Bench. So on a lot of benchmarks, this free tool that you can also use on a free API, bear in mind you can't get a free API of GPT 4.5, and you can't get a free API from Claude 3.7. Sonet is available to use, and it is super powerful, and you can basically automate anything you want, build anything you want, and even create like one-click AI agents using this powerful tool. Now, if you want to get access to it, you can get access at deepseek.com. I'll also show you many other ways to access it right here. The way that you want to use the newest version of DeepSeek is to actually go right in the chat here, then make sure you don't select anything else, right? So don't select DeepThink R1 because that's a totally different model. You're going to be using the main version inside the chat right here. Another way that you can get access to it, and I'll come on to this later, is you can go to OpenRouter and you can see the top trending model on OpenRouter is DeepSeek V3.1. The top apps being used with the API, which is completely free to use as well, are Client and root code. I'll come on to those later, plus what that means and how it can be used. And if you just want to use it directly in the chat for free, you can see this is completely free to use. You can use it inside the chat and then start giving it prompts like you can see right here. So let's do an example check. So let's do an example test right here. So for example, 9.11 and 9.9, which is larger, and it reasons it out right here, as you can see. If you go back, you can also go to the compare section, and then you can actually compare this side by side versus another model. So if we, for example, pull up Claude 3.7 Sonet, we can compare these, and you can see, for example, on the pricing, it's so different, right? So for example, for output here, $15 per million tokens, $0 per million tokens, right? Absolutely game changing. Let's pull this up versus ChatGPT, and you can see the difference in pricing here, quite drastic. And the other thing to note here is that it will be released open source on Ollama, I can imagine pretty soon, because DeepSeek version 3 is already on there. As you can see, DeepSeek R1 is on there. I think it's just a matter of time. Obviously, this is a brand new tool, so it's not available on there just yet, but you will be able to host it locally. All right. So if we go inside here, we can also connect it to the search. So let's test this out. And we can also, for example, deselect that, and we can upload images here, right? So for example, if we go to, for example, a random website, like you see right here, we'll copy that image, and then we'll go back over to DeepSeek. We'll plug that image in. Like you can see, it can actually read images and then use that for its output. So for example, if we upload that image and then say clone this, and then hit enter, we can get the magic back, all right? We can also, for example, connect it to search. So on that search that we did, we said what happened today, and then it gave us a bunch of ideas. Like you can see, it also gave us like weather, events, etc., all sorts of goings-ons, all sorts of stuff going on for March 27th. Although I will say some of these results, probably not perfect. You definitely want to check this stuff before you start using and making decisions off it. So you can see here, for example, DeepSeek can actually code out full websites. So this is actually cloning the website from the image that we uploaded from our site. And if you want to code this into HTML code, just specify it inside the prompt, and then it can start building out websites, apps, or whatever you want for it. You can also run the HTML here. So if we click on run HTML, it's cloned the content from the site. It's pretty easy and simple. Maybe you want to take it to a whole different level, right? So for example, here you can see in the chat, what we actually did with this was we said, make me a captivating endless runner game, key instructions on the scene, key instructions on the screen, P5.js scene, no HTML, I like pixelated dinosaurs and interesting backgrounds. it gave us the JavaScript latency right here. You can basically code your own Flash tools, right? Let's take that content and then we're going to go over and preview it. We'll take the code, we'll plug it in here, we'll hit play, and boom, look at that. The game is ready to be played, my friends, and it actually works perfectly. So it's wild what you can do with this. There's so much more I'm going to show you today, but that's just a little sneak peek and we'll get straight into it. Big update from DeepSeek as we have a new DeepSeek version 3 update, also known as DeepSeek 3.4. Some people are calling it DeepSeek version 3.1, and it is one of the best non-reasoning models out there right now. So you can see the benchmarks here, this tweet from Zeofom, and I'm going to show you exactly how to get free access to it, plus how it performs from my own test today. But you can see here that it is actually performing much better versus the previous version. So these are the benchmarks. This is the new version of DeepSeek, DeepSeek V3.1, and this is the old version, which is DeepSeek Chat. Now, some people are actually comparing it to Claude 3.7 Sonet, which I'll be doing as well. And this was just announced a few hours ago. Now, if you actually go to the DeepSeek website, you can get access to this for free. And also, I'll be showing you how to get a free API key from DeepSeek V3.0.3.4. That is a bit of a mouthful, to be honest with you. But we're going to go through this step by step, and I'll show you exactly how to use it, plus what it means. How is this different? So, essentially, if you want to get started with this, you can go to deepseek.com, then you can go to start now, and you get access right here. Also, it's available inside LM Arena. So, for example, if we go to lmarena.ai, then we go to direct chat, and from here, we're going to select DeepSeek. All right, so just type DeepSeek here, and you'll see DeepSeek V3.0.3.4 selectable in the drop down right there, right? And then you can start chatting with it and giving it prompts. The other way, and this is probably my preferred way right now, you can actually get a free API key and you can use the chat directly inside OpenRouter, and this is free to use. As you can see, there is a paid version as well, but if you want to use it completely for free, then you can use it that way too. And I'll show you some of the creations that we've made with it in a second. Now, the other problem right here is that because the DeepSeek website is updating, the server comes back busy quite often. So I've done a few prompts with it today. I'll show you what I've created and what I think of it so far versus how it's performing. So you can see here, for example, the server is busy, please try again later. I think it's been flooded with people using it. And also, when these AIs are typically updated, usually beta, they're quite buggy anyway. So let's get straight into it and we'll start running through the new update. So let me show you an example of what we actually built here. I'm going to pull this up for you so you can have a cheeky gander. So what I've said is build out an amazing keyword research tool in HTML with room to insert Google AI API keys to generate responses. Make it modern and super useful, right? So I wanted to try and create like a SaaS tool on the fly. I will say it was quite slow when I was trying to test it out. Now, if we scroll down and we look, it's created the code, which is awesome. The other thing that I like about this is when you're using tools like DeepSeek, Claude is the same as well. It has this artifacts feature. So you don't have to run the HTML code externally or preview it. You can just click run HTML. This tool actually works pretty well. As an example of this, we're just going to pull this up and I'm going to grab an API key. I'm going to grab a free one from AI Studio, Google AI Studio, and then we can plug this into our tool, right? So I'm going to go here. This is the AI powered keyword research tool. They've even named it Keyword Genius. It looks fairly nice, to be fair, similar to what something that Claude would do. And then we'll click generate. And from here, it's generated the responses, right? And we could download the CSV, Excel. We've got the generated keywords. It's got some ideas for keywords down here as well, with the competition scores, the percentages, cost per click, etc. I wouldn't trust the data that much, but you get the idea. And you can switch between like question keywords, long tail keywords, or normal keywords as well, which is super useful. And yeah, just created like a really easy SaaS tool in 1 minute. Also, you can plug in an API key. So I did this earlier inside the chat. You can just grab an API key, plug it in there, hit save settings, boom shakalaka. We can start generating stuff using this, right? Really easy to do. And let's see if this works. So I'm going to put dentist here as well, just to customize it and test like, okay, is this actually working? So you see here, generates the keywords with AI. And then, yeah, we've got a bunch of ideas for keywords right here. So pretty simple, pretty easy to do. Create the SaaS software basically perfectly first time round. Also, when I try and do this stuff with bolt.new, it quite often breaks. That's why I don't really use those tools anymore. Whereas with DeepSeek V3.1, it just did its magic straight off the bat. Pretty powerful stuff. And if we keep going through here, this is an article I wrote with DeepSeek. So basically use this prompt, quite a detailed prompt on how to create content, etc. Put in some source context about me. And then if we have a look at the output here, so it's created an SEO optimized article with the keyword front loaded inside the title. The article itself reads pretty nicely. It's also got a CTA with a link direct to my page. And bear in mind, this is free, right? There doesn't seem to be a limit on this. If you were comparing it to something like Claude 3.7, Claude 3.7 is awesome for writing content. But the problem is it does have a limit, right? And if you want to upgrade, then you have to spend $20 a month, which is not affordable for everyone watching this. Whereas, for example, inside DeepSeek, deepseek.com, you just go in, it's completely free. You don't need to worry about anything. You got all your chat history back here, and then you can get straight into it, right? And it actually writes pretty nice content, like you can see. Pretty easy to read. And also, like, it customizes the content to us. It's fairly humanized and that sort of thing, but not bad at all. All right, next up, what I did was I asked it to create an SEO cost calculator with a modern design. As you can see right here, so we've got the HTML code back. And let's open this up. So run the HTML. This one was okay, not bad. It's not as modern as I would like it, to be honest with you. But let's check if it works. So I'm going to click on the drop downs, select an option right there. And you can see it works perfectly. So it's calculate the cost. Nice little tool to use. You could easily embed that onto your website, customize it to whatever industry you're in. And pretty simple and easy. Now, the other way that you can use this, like I was saying, is you can go over to the chat room inside OpenRouter, and then you can use the chat here. And I've actually got better outputs from this, quite surprisingly, right? So, for example, if we go to LiveWeave and we test out the HTML, so I said, create a beautiful landing page from SEO agency, kept it really simple. There's nothing really fancy about that prompting style or anything like that. And that's one of the things I do like about this model is like, you don't have to go overboard in terms of the prompting. And if we grab the HTML, so we'll copy that. And again, this is free. So you're using DeepSeek V3, the free version inside OpenRouter. And if we go over here, we'll plug in the code and we have that back. It's actually looking pretty nice. Look at that. Let's pull this up. Nice little design right there. Gradiented background. Includes all the information about us. Added some testimonials here. And did it really quickly as well. Pretty powerful stuff there. Pretty easy to use. Didn't take long at all. And you can get access for free. And I would say it's at the similar level. The only problem that I'm finding is DeepSeek server is going to get overloaded and then you can't use it. You can also go to Hugging Face. Hugging Face have an option to use DeepSeek and the new version of it as well. So that's another option. And let me show you some of the other things and what people are saying about it. So let me pull this up. It's DeepSeek. So someone actually created an app, like you can see right here, kind of interactive animation, which is pretty nice. And then I did see a Three.js code game. Here we go. Yeah, so this is the new DeepSeek model. And this actually compares all three models. So this is a tweet from Dipanshu, who says, O3 Mini looked good initially, but didn't get the physics right. But DeepSeek, with its new V3 update, actually gives a better output, right? So if we open this up, let's see what we got here. So DeepSeek, DeepSeek R1, and O3 Mini. And you can see that DeepSeek's physics here, in terms of the modeling, are much smoother, much nicer in terms of the output. So really interesting to see that as well. Considering O3 Mini is a much more advanced model, and it's an O3, and it's a reasoning model, right? That's the other thing to know about this. Here's another example. So this looks like an app someone's built for the weather, which looks pretty cool. Someone built a Three.js game over here. Look at that. That's pretty crazy, to be fair, that you can build that. You can see it's just one big prompt. So you can see the prompt here. Let's have a look what we got. Make a cool Three.js game. That was all it gave it. And it just went off and did its magic. That is wild. Yeah, it looks pretty nice. So, you know, you can code with it. You can create content with it. It's completely free to use. Here's another game that was built with it. So this is some sort of like missile game. Look at that. 3D as well. Let's go on to OpenRouter and we'll just test this out. So I'm going to try the same prompt here. We'll say, create a cool Three.js game. We'll see if DeepSeek is working directly as well, but before when I tested it, it was not working after a few tests. So you see how it takes so long to respond here? It actually looks like it's coming up with it now, but we'll see what it comes up with. And it's creating the JavaScript. Inside OpenRouter, it's just broken completely. Look at that. 3JS game. I'm going to say, okay. Code it in HTML. I see. So it's thinking about it. I'm just going to go back and then we'll test that again. So you can see here, it's still not perfect, right? Nobody's going to show you this on YouTube. I just want to be 100% transparent. Like, it's cool. It can create some amazing stuff, but it does break. And you do have to go back and forth with it a little bit inside the chat here. You see how slow it is as well? So it keeps lagging a little bit. But that's to be expected with a brand new sort of feature and update that's coming out. So let's get it to create a 3JS game in HTML now. We'll see what we get back in a sec. OpenRouter is still coding it. And also, if you want to use this inside, for example, like Visual Studio Code or something like that. So you can use a free API. If you download Visual Studio Code, just Google it and you can download it. And then from here, you can type in Klein. And Klein have just updated this with the new API. So if you go into your settings here, and then I believe, let's just have a look here. Yeah, so if we go to OpenRouter, and then inside OpenRouter, we should be able to use DeepSeek 0324. So you see here, it's got DeepSeek Chat V3 0324, and then it's completely free. So we can use it like so. We can hit done, and then we'll just test this out. I might have to set up a new API key, but we're just going to test it out. So I'm going to say, okay, create an SEO 3JS game. We'll see if that works. In the meantime, we'll switch back, see what we got back from the chat. Yeah, so you can see it's coding out here in DeepSeek and the new version. So it's pretty awesome. When you think about it, it's crazy that, number one, you can get access to DeepSeek, but number two, it's completely free. Whether you're using the API, whether you're automating, whether you're building AI agents, etc., you can do this all for free with OpenRouter and the free API key. And then if you don't want to use the API key, you can just go straight back to DeepSeek or into OpenRouter chat room and just make sure you select the right API key here. What you can also do is like you can compare them side by side, right? So for example, if we wanted to use Claude 3.7 Sonet and just compare them side by side, you can do it like that, right? Pretty simple and easy. So let's run this HTML now and see if it actually works. Here we go. That's the game that we just created in one prompt. I'm not even sure what you're meant to do here, but it looks pretty cool to be fair. To create that in, oh yeah, you're meant to collect the rings. There you go. All right, so collect the pink rings here. 3D game works perfectly in one shot. You can't argue with that. And that's just not even testing the boundaries of it, right? DeepSeek just mocked that up in one go. It's, here you go, mate. You want your game? Here you go. It's probably better than most Mega Drive games back in the day. So, really simple and easy to do. Pretty powerful for coding. It can write games. It can create beautifully designed websites. If the server is not working inside deepseek.com directly, then just go to OpenRouter chat room, or you can go inside client and use the API key directly here. But either way, you're good to go. Pretty simple and easy. And that's exactly how you can use it. I honestly, from what I can see, especially with that last 3JS game, like that's looking better than Claude 3.7 Sonet, or probably about the same, right? Usually as well, 3.7 Sonet, like it runs out of tokens and then you have to regenerate the code or it doesn't work properly, etc. But this has just gone off and done it perfectly, right? You see, it even works when it says game over. Pretty cool. So, thanks so much for watching. If you want to get access to all of my best prompts, tips, workflows, AI agents, automations for email content, social media, AI agents, and you want to make more money with AI, as well as save hundreds of hours of AI, then feel free to get that AI Profit Boardroom community, link in the comments and description. If you go to the SOP section, you'll see all of my best latest SOPs. This is all the stuff we've added this month. Prices are actually going up this month, so make sure you sign up now and lock in your legacy price. Also, it comes with weekly Q&A calls, so you can jump on the weekly Q&As and ask us any questions. And then also inside the community, if you have any questions or you get stuck between the Q&A calls, you can post inside the community and get help from 530 people who are all focused on making more money and saving time with AI. So It's an awesome community, constantly getting updated, loads of cool stuff in there. And you can sign up, link in the comments and the description. Also, if you want to get a free one-to-one SEO strategy session, feel free to get that link in the comments and description. We'll show you how we take websites from 0 to 145,000 visitors a month and generate hundreds of thousands of dollars in sales on autopilot. On this free link building acceleration session, you'll get a free custom tailored link building game plan so you can generate more leads, sales, and profits to your website. You'll discover the secrets of SEO link building. You can ask us any questions you have, and you'll learn how to 10x SEO traffic based on what's working for us and our happy clients, like you can see right here. Feel free to get that link in the comments and description. DeepSeek have just released a brand new model called DeepSeek V3.1. And the beautiful thing about this is, number one, it's better at coding. Number two, it's better at reasoning. Number three, it's better at logic. These are the main differences. And also, you can basically automate anything for free if you use the strategies I'm about to show you, right? So what you can actually do is if you go to OpenRouter.ai, then you can open up a free API key for OpenRouter, and you can plug that into many different tools, right? So for example, you can see here, you can actually use it inside Code, you can use it inside Klein, you can also use DeepSeek version 3, the new update inside OpenRouter chat room. And today I'm going to show you exactly how you can basically automate anything using this process, right? So what you're going to do inside OpenRouter is you're going to sign up for a free account, then you're going to go over to keys, and inside keys, select create key. Now, once you've created a key, you can then plug that into your settings inside Visual Studio Code. Now, if you've never set this up before, let me show you exactly how to do it. So you're going to go to code.visualstudio.com. Then you're going to download this for whatever, whether you're on Mac or Windows. Once you've done that, then I would recommend you go to extensions. So click on extensions on the left, type in Klein, and you can install this. You can also install Code. Code is super powerful as well. And these are both awesome ways to basically automate anything that you want using this process. Now, once you've done that, you can then go to your settings. For example, inside Klein, we can go to settings over here, select OpenRouter, plug in the API key that you got previously. And then in the settings here, you're going to make sure that you use DeepSeek Chat V3.0324 for free, right? That's how you can automate stuff for free, right? And then you can also add like custom instructions, what you want, etc. And then if we go inside the chat here and we'll say now, okay, create, just as a very simple example, we're going to say create a basic, sleek, modern SEO tool, all right? And basically we can automate the creation of websites, tools, apps, etc. inside here. Now, if you're struggling, you can switch between the providers. So right now this is probably overloaded, but you can see the API request is now working. So just be prepared that if it's in beta or it's just been released within the last few hours, which it has, then you might have to go back and forth with it a little bit, but it seems to be working beautifully right here. Whilst that's loading, I'm actually going to show you something else as well. So another way that you can automate stuff is if you go to chat, so find DeepSeek on OpenRouter, then click on chat. Inside the chat room here, you can use it for free as well. So we can give it the exact same prompt and we can automate tools directly here. All right, so if we say create a basic sleek modern SEO tool, that'll come back to us with the code and we can automate the creation of tools, apps, websites. You can even create SaaS software using this process, right? And now you can see it's coding out the project that we want. So really simple and easy to set this up inside Code, inside Klein, etc. Some people are probably asking like, okay, does it include browser control? So if you're using the free API key, it doesn't support computer use, right? Which means that you can't use this with browser control directly inside Code. But the easiest way to set this up, if you want like a DeepSeek API to control your laptop, then you can go to web browser UI, set up the GitHub, and you can run AI agents in your browser that way, right? I actually have a few videos on YouTube if you type in Julian Goldie browser use web UI, and you can install DeepSeek APIs directly into that, right? So if you want it to control your laptop, if you want the AI to basically start using your browser, etc., then you can automate that using this process right here. So you can basically control your browser like you can see, and then you can get DeepSeek version 3 to just start Googling stuff and doing research for you. It even has a deep research option here. You can see how it works step by step. So just get the browser use web UI option inside there, right? Now, if we come back to the project, you can see it's coding away and doing its magic. If we go back to the chat room, it's still coding away. All right, so we can just automate stuff and then do other things in the background. The other option that we have, I just want to test this out first of all before we do it, is we're going to sign in to my N8N workspace, and I want to see if N8N have actually updated with the new APIs from DeepSeek, all right? So let's wait for the sign in here. I'm going to go to the admin panel. I might need to update this, so I'm just going to go to settings and make sure I have the latest version installed. Looks like we should be good to go on that. All right, if we're going to open this up, we'll see if we can set up AI agents with N8N as well using the new version of DeepSeek. So let's create a new workflow, add an AI agent, and then inside the chat model section, we'll type in OpenRouter. So we've got that set up. It doesn't look like DeepSeek is available free directly inside there. So if you want the free version of it, it doesn't seem to be available. Let me just check. Oh, there we go. Look at that. So just don't type in DeepSeek, right? If you type in DeepSeek, it didn't seem to come up. But if I type in V3, it comes up. You've got the newest version right there, right? And then if we go back here, and we're going to go inside the AI agent, we can just automate whatever we want using this process, right? So I'm going to call this DeepSeek V3.1 AI agent. That's saved. And then if we open up the chat in the bottom here, we can basically automate our AI agents using the newest version of DeepSeek, all right? So if we go inside the chat here, we'll say, write an SEO article about DeepSeek. You can see it's using the AI agent and it's using the OpenRouter model right here. We'll just wait for that to load and that should work. Now, in the meantime, if we go back to the chat room, and we go back to Visual Studio Code, that is coding out right there as well. The other thing to be careful of here, of course, is like when you're using this, it may be a little bit slow, right? Because everyone's going to be rinsing this at the same time. So just for the sake of making things easy, oh, there we go. We can go back to the chat here and yeah, you've got the output. All right. So it says, what is a DeepSeek? Then it comes up with the details. It's written the content, etc. That article is ready to go. And we just automated that in a few seconds using this AI agent setup right here. Obviously, what you want to do inside the AI agent is really give it like a good system message in terms of what you want it to do. And then when you add the AI model, chat model over here, just make sure you select OpenRouter and then DeepSeek Chat V30324, right? And if you want the free version, then make sure you select :free at the end right there, right? And that's how you can get access to this. So pretty powerful stuff. Like I've shown you in the space of a few minutes how to automate stuff directly inside the chat, which you've got inside OpenRouter.ai. I've shown you how to set up free AI agents using this process. The other thing to note here as well is if you host N8N yourself or if you host it locally, then this is completely free, right? 'Cause then you don't even pay for N8N if you're hosting it locally or if you're hosting it yourself. And also you can use this for free inside Klein or root code using Visual Studio Code. Now, if we run this, so we're just going to run the command. We've got the page ready to go. We just automate the website. And that was incredibly easy. All right. Now, if you want better results, like for me, I didn't really like the design there, then you can just go back and forth in the chat and ask it to improve the UI, make it look more modern, etc. But between these AI agents, really simple and easy to do. Now, the other thing that I think you should be able to do, if we go to made.com, is we can automate anything using DeepSeek and the method right here. So I'm just going to grab this. We'll plug this in right here. We'll sign in. And now inside made.com as well, we should be able to automate things for free as well. So what I'm going to do is I'll run over to this DeepSeek R1 content creator. And what you can see with this workflow is that we're taking keywords from a Google Sheet, we're plugging that through OpenRouter, and then we're sending that to WordPress, right? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to clone this, and we'll set it up with the new version of DeepSeek, all right? By the way, if you want all my best templates, workflows, etc., you can get that inside the AI Profit Boardroom, link in the comments and description. and it comes with all my best make.com automation, so you can just import along with all my best NA10 AI agents as well if you want to just one-click set up this stuff. And so what we're going to do from here is take the keyword, then inside OpenRouter's module, we're going to select my OpenRouter connection, right? And then inside the model section, let's see if we can get the new version of DeepSeek. Yeah, look at that. DeepSeek V3.1 free, ready to go. Boom shakalaka. We're ready to go. We're living the dream here, sunshine. And then we're going to right click this and we'll click choose where it's star. We'll click choose manually and we should be able to select our keyword and then run that through the new version of DeepSeek to create the content. So let's scroll down here. We'll select Eldorado Hills SEO and hopefully this should work. So I'm just going to click run once, plug it through OpenRouter, and you can see OpenRouter is using the new version of DeepSeek V3.1 to create the content. And then it should automatically post that to WordPress. So in the background here, I'm just going to log into WordPress. We'll wait for this to load. Again, I think because it is the first day of this release, like the APIs are going to be a little bit slow, but if you're patient with it, if you're doing different things in the background, that doesn't matter at all. Now, also what you can do whilst we're waiting for that to load is we can go back to our NA10 workflow and we can also, for example, select a tool. So we could link our Gmail to this, or we could, for example, create an AI agent that actually plugs content directly to WordPress, right? So let me show you an example of how this works. So we're going to click on Gmail tool over here. We're going to let the AI figure out who to send to, the subject line, and also the message to send. And then additionally, yeah, I think that should be all good to go now. I'm just going to double check, see what that sends to. Yeah, I think we should be good there. All right now. So what I'm going to do from here is I'm going to say, write an email to john@juliangoldie.com. Let me just make sure this is draft, not send. All right. Yeah, so we'll put write an email to me@juliangoldie.com, inviting him to the new DeepSeek V3 party this weekend. All right. And we'll see if that works. Now, again, the API is going to take a little bit of time to complete, but we should have the outputs back from the first WordPress draft. So you can see here, it's already created the first draft from WordPress. And then if we open this up inside WordPress here, we've got the article from DeepSeek. And there we go. Look at that. DeepSeek V3 automated an article. Really simple. It's got our internal links automatically inserted right here. Boom. And that was just with this one simple workflow, right? So you can automate anything using make.com. You could also, for example, use N8N, and that was incredibly simple. All right, now you can see it's using the Gmail feature to write the email, so we'll see what that comes back in a minute. But for the make.com automation, that was super simple. We just automated 2 blocks from our spreadsheet, went through OpenRouter using the new API from DeepSeek, and then plugged that through to WordPress. Now, it might be a bit confusing seeing me switch between N8N, make.com. If that's the case, don't worry, because inside the AI Profit Boardroom, I have separate trainings for each, right? So if you go to the classroom over here, we have a whole course on N8N templates and workflows. So you can see all our different courses and templates that you can just insert if you want to use N8N. And then if you type in make.com at the top here, you'll see all my best automations for make.com, including 12 automations between DeepSeek and Make AI, right? Also got GPT 4.5 AI agents and all sorts of crazy stuff inside there, right? So if you're a little bit confused right now, don't worry, because you know the APIs are so slow that I have to switch between them if it's a YouTube video. Otherwise, it's going to take absolutely ages, right? Now, let's just check. Has this actually sent the message or not? Ooh, there we go. Look at that. Boom shakalaka. All right. I love it when it works first time round. I'm not going to lie to you. So I'm going to stop that right now because it doesn't need to go on forever. But basically what we've done here is we asked DeepSeek inside N8N and the AI agent to just write an email to me@juliangoldie.com, inviting him to the new DeepSeek V3 party this weekend. And inside the subject line, the to email address, and also the message, we said, figure it out, mate. Use the AI to figure that out. It did it. It did its magic. And you can see here, it says, hey, Julian. So it even figured out my name from the email address. And it said, hey, hope this email finds you well. We're thrilled to invite you to the exclusive launch party for DeepSeek V3 this weekend. It's going to be an exciting event filled with innovation, networking, and fun. Here's the details. There you go. and you can just create email assistants, fire off emails for you or answer emails, whatever you want inside NA10. Super simple and easy, right? You get the point. Like between make.com, between NA10, between RuCode, and also the OpenRouter chat room, like you can automate pretty much anything you want, and you can automate it for free with AI agents, and they literally take seconds to build, like you can see today that we've done. Yeah, super simple and easy. You can build websites, tools, apps, games. You can create email assistants. You can automate content from spreadsheets through OpenRouter for free, and then send those over to WordPress. Like your only limit here is your imagination. And with the power of DeepSeek and these new updates, this technology is just getting better and better, right? Like you should be looking at, okay, what's one thing that I can automate each week that would save me hundreds of hours? And then you just do that again and again, and you can do it all for free, like I've shown you today. And it's really simple once you get your head around it, right? Now, if you want to figure out, okay, how do you set up a workflow like this? Let me show you how to build something like this inside make.com. I've already covered how to do this inside NA10 today. So I'm going to go back inside scenarios over here, all right? And make.com is really good for linear scenarios, right? So when you're going from point A to point B, right, in a straight line. Whereas, for example, NA10 is better for more complex stuff. If you want to see some of the, this was a super simple agent that we built today. If you want to see something that's a bit more technical, let me open up this one for Telegram. So you can see how we've set up Telegram here to basically fire off emails via Gmail. You can also see for another example, let me pull up another example right here. Want to find another example for you. All right, this one is super complicated. Look at this bad boy, all right? If you want something really technical and complicated that has many different steps, NA10 is the best. But if you want something that's super linear and simple to set up, the make.com is pretty decent. And also it's free for the first 1,000 operations per month, right? Now, if you want to set up a workflow like I did a second ago, then you would just go inside make.com. You're going to set up, like, for example, watch new rows. Then from here, you're going to link this to OpenRouter, create a chat completion. Make sure you have your credentials set up, right? So you want to set up your credentials like you can see right here. And then you're going to choose the model that you want to use, right? So if we type in DeepSeek, we can use the latest version of DeepSeek over here. You would add a message. So this is essentially your prompt. And then from here, you can just link this to WordPress or whatever you want, right? So if we wanted to create like a SEO content automation tool, we can do that. Click create a post, fill out all the details once this loads. So you fill out all this stuff. And then in the space of seconds, you've built out an AI SEO tool, right? Something that you probably would have paid $200 a month for a couple of years ago, right? So that's how easy it is to set up automations and do this stuff. You can do it with NA10, with make.com. You can do it with RuCode. You can do it with Client, OpenRouter. I also think that very soon, probably give it a week or two, DeepSeek V3 and the new update will be available inside Olama as well. So there's many different options from here, right? Now, like I said, if you want to get all of my best automations for make.com or NA10 or AI agents, etc., you can get that inside the AI Profit Boardroom. Prices are going up this month, so make sure you sign up before the end of the month. Otherwise, you're going to lose out on the legacy price. And this community is just focused on one thing, which is making more money and saving time with AI. So if you want that, feel free to get it inside the AI Profit Boardroom. All my best automations are in here, including AI agents. There's a crash course to save you hundreds of hours, and this is all the stuff we've automated inside our business. And then also inside the SAP collection here, you can see all this different stuff we're adding. Like pretty much every single day, we update all of this stuff. I'm going to add a new SAP for DeepSeek and all the automations you can do with the new version of DeepSeek version 3, but you get the point. And then also inside the community here, if you have a question, just post it inside the community and we can help you. So for example, you can see all of these people posting yesterday and they all got their questions answered. We stepped in, we helped them out, etc. Look at all the updates we've done as well, right? So this was an update from 5 days ago. We added tons of new stuff right here, including like MCP agents, NA10 MCP agents, Google Trend Extractors, etc. So we're constantly updating this because it's a new technology that's adapting every single day. And yeah, feel free to get that link in the comments description. If you want to get a free one-to-one SEO strategy session, you can get that right now. Feel free to learn and book it in. It's a free SEO strategy session. So it's going to show you how we take websites from 0 to 145,000 visits a month and generate hundreds of thousands of dollars in sales on autopilot. And on this free link building acceleration session, you get a free SEO domination plan, right? So you're going to get a custom tailored link building plan to generate more leads, sales, and profits from your website. You will be able to ask us any questions you have. So if you're confused about anything related to SEO, you can ask directly on the call, and you'll learn how to 10x the SEO traffic based on what's working for us. So feel free to put that in, link in the comments description. DeepSeek version 3 versus Claude 3.7 Sonnet. Who wins today? We're going to test this out and see who's the winner, which one is the best. Now, if you're not familiar with this already, just a few hours ago, DeepSeek released V3.1. Now, this is available inside the chat. So you can go inside deepseek.com, chat.deepseek.com, and get free access right there. Or you can go to LM Arena, go to the direct chat, and you can select DeepSeek version 3.024 there as well. And additionally, if you prefer, you can also grab the API key for free on OpenRouter.ai, or just go to the chat room. So it's openrouter.ai/chat. And then you can compare two different models. So you can see here I've got 3.7 Sonnet versus DeepSeek version 3. So what we're going to do here is we're going to test them side by side, see, okay, who's the best, who's performing the best, which one creates the best prompts. Now, the first thing that I'm going to test is its writing ability. One thing to note here is the 3.7 Sonnet is a reasoning model. It has thinking abilities, whereas, for example, DeepSeek version 3.0.324 is a base model, right? So it's not a reasoning model. It doesn't have thinking capabilities. It should be quite smart, but at the same time, I don't think it's going to be as good at reasoning. All right, but we're going to test this prompt out now. So I'm going to say create an SEO optimized article for this. We'll put in the keyword, and then we'll plug this into both, right? So you can see DeepSeek working its magic here, and Claude 3.7 working its magic as well. Now, if we actually compare these side by side, what's interesting about this is actually it looks like DeepSeek version 3 is totally given up on the response there. I'm just going to refresh that. So it seems to be stuck on processing. That is super buggy. What I might have to do is just open up a separate tab. So DeepSeek version 3 is now writing as well. We'll open up both of these. So this is the output from Claude 3.7 Sonnet. One of the first things you're going to notice here is you see how it says 2023 inside the response here. That is not ideal, my friends. We don't want that. So Claude 3.7 Sonnet seems to be a little bit confused there already. DeepSeek version 3 has come back to us. It's front-loaded the keyword. It's included in the first line, etc., which is great. Let's have a look at the content from Claude. Also, look at this, right? So Claude 3.7 Sonnet said, looking for top-notch SEO training in Manchester. Now, the keyword here is top-notch. So if you actually look at the outputs here, number one, Claude 3.7 Sonnet is put 2023 for some reason. And number two is using AI fluff words like top-notch. Whereas if you compare that side by side versus DeepSeek, this feels a lot more humanized, right? So if you look at the first line, looking for SEO training in Manchester, that actually works. Like no AI fluff, feels quite humanized, gets straight to the point. It's linked to our funnel after the first paragraph. All right, so if we pull these up side by side, it looks like DeepSeek is actually doing a better job than Claude 3.7 Sonnet when it comes to writing the content. I'm just going to check how long this is. So the content from DeepSeek V3 is 485 words, and the content from Claude is 1087 words, all right? So let's just pull these up. What I'm going to do is run them through Zero GPT and AI detection tool, and we could see which one creates the most humanized content as well. Honestly, if I had to pick both blogs, I'm going to go with DeepSeek's because it just feels a lot more humanized. It feels a lot more natural, etc. So let's take this content and we'll run it through Zero GPT and just see how it performs in terms of humanization. So DeepSeek, this is pretty amazing actually. DeepSeek's content comes out at 0% AI detectable, right? So the AI cannot detect whether this is human written or not. It thinks it is actually human written, right? So DeepSeek has done pretty well there. Now let's compare 3.7 Sonnet. So we're going to take this content and just compare it side by side. Bearing in mind, DeepSeek scored 0%, which is perfect. Claude 3.7 Sonnet has come out at 0% human detectable as well. So they've both done really well in terms of writing the content. I would just say that DeepSeek's doesn't read quite as nicely as using, I wouldn't say Claude's content reads as nicely as DeepSeek's. All right, next up, what I'm going to do is I actually prefer using these directly in the chat. I think it'll be easier to compare as well. So I'm going to get rid of Claude right there. We'll X off that. And we're just going to use DeepSeek inside OpenRouter, and then we'll use Claude over here. All right. So we'll run the next prompt. We're going to use a reasoning challenge to compare them. So I'm going to use this prompt here, which says, there's a tree on the other side of a river in winter. How can I pick it out? Basically, what we're looking for is like solutions. We're looking for the AI to recognize that obviously apples don't grow in winter as well, and that you could be wasting your time, etc. So let's see how it performs and whether it can actually figure that out. All right. Now you can see Claude 3.7 Sonnet is actually a lot faster. So this is still loading with DeepSeek over here, but with Claude 3.7 Sonnet, it's already given us the answer and gotten straight to it. So in terms of speed, Claude 3.7 is winning. However, this model has just been released, so it is going to be a little bit slower than normal. I'm waiting for this to load, and you can see it's taken quite a long time. I might switch to the paid model if this doesn't work. But so far, I've letting us down. Let's just go back onto DeepSeek V3, and we'll use it directly inside the chat, see if that works instead. So we're going to use the same prompt inside the reasoning model instead. Here we go. So it's analyzing the situation. And you can see it's actually got the reasoning ability here. So it's like, right, apple availability. Apples are generally harvested in late summer to autumn. So by winter, most apples have fallen or been picked unless it's an evergreen or a special variety that retains fruit, which is uncommon, right? So it's figured out, okay, there's a lot of problems with this. It's also really in-depth in its analysis. Look at this, like understands the scenario, analyzes the possibility, assesses the river, potential solutions as well. So reevaluates the initial assumptions as well. It does feel like a reasoning model, even if it's not. If you compare the output of Claude 3.7 Sonnet versus DeepSeek, genuinely DeepSeek is thinking this out a lot more. You're getting a better output from DeepSeek for sure when it comes to reasoning. So I'm going to say that DeepSeek won this reasoning challenge simply because it gave us more solutions, it analyzed the situation a bit more, and also it was a lot more focused on analyzing the situation and then coming up with solutions, right? Whereas, for example, with Claude, it's really short with its response. So if we take a look here, it's like, this is a peculiar situation since apples don't bear fruit in winter, which is great. But it's not really analyzed the situation in as much detail as DeepSeek. If you need to really reason something out, this is going to give you the most logical and best answer. So DeepSeek wins on that one as well. Now, let's compare on another challenge. What we're going to do here is we're going to test the search model. So this is web search using DeepSeek. Now, if you're outside the US, I'm just going to double check the settings here. But if you're outside the US, you won't get the option for web search. So DeepSeek actually has web search, but I want to make sure it actually works. So I'm going to say, okay, what happened in AI news today? So just to be clear here, Claude only has web search for people in the US. If you're outside the US, you won't get that. However, the search service inside DeepSeek is not working either. You can see it says, due to technical issues, the search service is temporarily unavailable. So both of these failed when it comes to that. Now, you could go inside OpenRouter and select web search here and use the same prompt, right? So if we go inside OpenRouter and grab that, I put in a new room, web search selected, but you can see it still fails from what I can see. So we've selected web search, right? We've got that selected on, and I've said what happens in AI news today, and it still thinks it's June 2024. So not ideal there. I would say in some ways it's better that Claude just tells you we don't have it, mate, rather than wasting your time trying to use a search that actually doesn't work inside DeepSeek. So I'm going to say Claude won there, but both of them don't really do that. The other thing to note here is, and I don't know if this is going to be available to host offline yet. I'm sure it's coming to Olama, but yeah, this was only updated 2 months ago. So the new version is not here. You can get it through Hugging Face, but the main thing to note here is that when you're using DeepSeek, it's an open source model. So if it's an open source model, you can host it locally. I'm sure it will come to Olama pretty soon because DeepSeek version 3 is already on there. The other option that you have is you have a free API key, right? So for example, if you're using Claude, you get charged for tokens. It's pretty expensive, right? If you're using the model for API calls. Whereas, for example, with DeepSeek, you can go to OpenRouter, you can type in DeepSeek over here, select 0324 for free, and then you can actually grab a free API key from this and use that inside OpenRouter for coding, right? So you can build like AI agents, or you can build automations, or you can do whatever you want for free using DeepSeek version 3, which kind of beats Claude 3.7 Sonnet, as you have to pay for that. And a lot of people can't afford it, right? That's one of the most common sort of problems that I see on my YouTube comments, is like people complaining that they have to pay for this stuff. So you get the point. Like, this is open source. And number two, this is available to use inside Client, RuCode, OpenRouter chat room, etc. And it's available to use for free as well. So side by side, I would say DeepSeek's version 3 is winning now for content creation. It's winning for reasoning. It's winning for the free API key. It lost on the web search test. What else can we test here? So the next thing that I want to test is actually coding, right? So if we go back to the chat room here, I actually coded this earlier. Where is it now? So I asked it to create a beautiful landing page for my SEO agency, right? And it coded this HTML code right here. So if we preview this inside liveweave.com and plug that in, and it actually created a really nice page, right? Really nice design, simple, but it does the job. It looks nice, it's clean, it even came up with the brand name, etc. Now let's compare this versus Claude 3.7 Sonnet. So I'm going to give exactly the same prompt, just keep it basic, which is create a beautiful landing page from SEO agency. We're inside the chat here, we'll plug that in, and we'll see how it goes. Now, some people are saying that there's only improvements in maths and coding when it comes to DeepSeek. That's an interesting one. I've not seen, they've not actually released like the official benchmarks for this new version of DeepSeek, so it's going to be hard to compare, but I've definitely noticed a difference in reasoning, right? If you compare the old version of DeepSeek version 3, it wasn't very good at reasoning. It did fail on a lot of reasoning tasks. Whereas, for example, when we looked at that crossing the river riddle before, DeepSeek version 3 actually outperformed Claude 3.7 Sonnet. So it's really interesting to see that. So let's see what we get back here. Just waiting for that to load. The other thing that we can test in a separate tab is creating a cool 3JS game, right? So if we have a look at that game that we created earlier, this one, we can take a look. So we've got the output from Claude over here. Let's take a look. Actually very similar, isn't it? Look at that. I'm just going to publish this so that we can preview it full screen. So let's open this up. So if we have a look through this, I really don't like the way Claude doesn't ask you for an image, but it leaves a little blank space for that. I never like that because it makes the page look a little bit messy. So this is using Claude 3.7 Sonnet, as you can see, and the page itself is really thin. So all it's got here is a little title bar, a little image, and then that's it, right? It doesn't even fill out that bit properly. Whereas, for example, if we go to the DeepSeek version, I actually created the full page, designed it nicely, added a footer, which the output from Claude doesn't have. Additionally, you can see that we have much nicer title, headings, etc. Nice icons. Like, the output from DeepSeek is ready to go, whereas the output from Claude is really poor, right? You wouldn't use that. You can't publish that. It's not ready to go. Now, it does say it hit the max length for a message, so I guess we could say keep going, but then you're wasting more time. You're going back and forth with it a bit more. It's going to be a little bit more frustrating to use. Next up, we're going to test another coding challenge. So I'm going to say inside here, create a sleek conversion-focused landing page for Goldie Agency's automation dashboard. The design should be modern, etc. Here's what to do. So we'll plug that in, and then we'll do the same inside Claude. Open up a new chat. Let's see what we get back. That is not ideal. Here I was asked it to create a sleek modern landing page, and it's not actually recognized that it needs to code something out, right? So DeepSeek has failed on this one right here. Whereas if we go over to Claude, I'm 99% sure it's like smart enough to figure out, okay, this is a coding task, right? It needs to go off and code. And that's exactly what it's done right here. So Claude is already winning by figuring out, okay, this is the user intent of what we want. Whereas DeepSeek, it feels a bit messy. It doesn't understand what we want. It doesn't have that intelligence to figure out, okay, this is what we're talking about, etc. But yeah, I think overall, if you're looking for something that's free to use, gives you good outputs, pretty good at coding, good at reasoning, good at writing content, then I would recommend that you go with DeepSeek. But if you are looking for the best of the best UI, the best outputs, the highest quality content, a smarter, more intelligent model that also comes with reasoning, then I would recommend that you stick with Claude. I don't think it's going to be Claude anytime soon. So, thanks so much for watching. If you want to get a free SEO strategy session, feel free to get that link in the comments description. We'll show you how we take websites from 0 to 145,000 visitors a month and generate hundreds of thousands of dollars in sales on autopilot. On this free link building acceleration session, you'll get a free SEO domination plan. So you'll get a custom tailored link building plan so you can generate more leads, sales, and profits from your website. And we'll be able to answer any questions you have. Plus, you'll learn how to 10x SEO traffic based on what's working for us and our happy clients, like you can see right here. And if you haven't already, check out the AI Profit Boardroom. This is a community focused on making more money and saving hundreds of hours with AI, right? So if you want to get my best automations on email and content, social media, AI agents, web automation, SEO automations, crash courses, and SPs, feel free to get that link in the comments description. Also comes with weekly Q&A, so you can jump on the weekly Q&A calls with us, ask us any questions you have. And inside the community, you can post and ask any questions, and then you'll get help from 530 members, all focused on the same goals as you. So feel free to get that link in the comments description. DeepSeek V3.1 build anything. Today, I'm going to show you how to build anything using DeepSeek. I'll show you multiple different ways and some of the most powerful workflows that you can use with the latest version of DeepSeek V3.1. All right. So, for example, here is an example of a game I actually built using DeepSeek V3. Now, the first way that you can access this and start using DeepSeek and the newest update from it is if you go to deepseek.com, like you can see right here, then you're going to go to Start Now. And then inside here, you can start using DeepSeek for free. So, for example, if we use a prompt, make me a captivating endless runner game, key instructions on the screen, P5, a JS scene, no HTML, I like pixelated dinosaurs and interesting backgrounds. Who doesn't? All right. We're going to copy this code that we got from DeepSeek V3 right here. And this is how to build games directly, okay? So the way that you can start running this code is you can go to editor.p5js.org, paste in the code from the AI right here. Then we can hit play in the top left. And now we have our game ready to go, right? And we have the pixelated dinosaur. He's having a great time. And then we can start running this like you can see. If we press R as well, then we can restart and we're just jumping over the obstacles and building up a top score right there. This should also switch between day and night, I believe, halfway through the code. Like you can see, you're also gathering a score in the top left, and we just created a fun interactive game that's super addictive in the space of one click. Pretty insane if you ask me. And that's how you can build games using DeepSeek or anything you want really inside the chat directly for free, right? Next up, if you want to start using, for example, like a canvas generator, you can go to huggingface.co/spaces, this username /anychat, right? So the username is spelled AKHALIQ /anychat, and then you can start using this. So for example, if we select from the Hugging Face model, DeepSeek V3.0324, we can start building this out, all right? So if we say now, okay, I'm just going to escape off that. Inside the code here, to-do list, all right, create a simple to-do list with add and remove functionality. Hit generate just as a basic example to show you. This should start coding out the HTML. So you can see this on the left-hand side. Again, this is like a free tool, but you can build out apps and whatever you want. And if we test this out, okay, test DeepSeek as the example task, hit add, we're good to go on, all right? We can also, for example, if we clear the history right here, and then we'll say, okay, create a beautiful SEO cost calculator, hit generate. Again, that's going to code the HTML on the left-hand side over here. And again, this is completely free, right? It doesn't cost you anything to build stuff like this out. It's coding the HTML on the left-hand side. And then once that's completed, we'll be able to see a live preview of the tool that we built. Literally just build this out with one single prompt using DeepSeek, and it didn't cost us a penny. Plus, all we said was create a beautiful SEO cost calculator, and boom, shakalaka, we're ready to go. So you can put in the business type, the competition level, number of keywords to target, number of pages to optimize, hit calculate SEO cost, and then we've got the SEO cost plus a nice little UI right there, right? And so you can build tools out with this. You can build apps like the to-do list app. You can build games like we did inside the chat right here. And none of this cost us a single penny, right? Really powerful stuff. So let's test something else out right now. So I'm actually going to go to, let's test it out on NA10. NA10 is a great place to start building AI agents. We can do this for free as well inside NA10 if you locally host it, right? So if you host this locally or you self-host your NA10 workplace, I have a video tutorial on exactly how to do that on YouTube or inside the AI Profit Boardroom. But essentially, we can use this to start building our AI agents, right? Now, if you want to see how quick and easy this is to do, let me open up Google and we'll set up the stopwatch, all right? So we're going to go from nothing to setting up a AI agent with DeepSeek version 3 that can just automate stuff for us, all right? So if we hit the timer right here, we're going to go to create a new workflow, and the timer is on, the race is on. Let's see how long it takes us to build this out. So we're going to put chat trigger. Here we go. Then we're going to type in AI agent. There we go. Then from here, we're going to start setting up the chat model. We'll put OpenRouter. And then inside the model, we'll type in DeepSeek. We're going to select V3.1, the free API key over here. And then inside the system instructions, we're going to put system message or helpful assistant. Now that took us 36 seconds, all right? 36 seconds to build out an AI agent that's just like a one-click chatbot. And if we open up the chat over here, let's just test this works. So we're going to put, are you working? That's going to run the API key for OpenRouter. Let's see if this actually works. You put me to the test. You put me on the spot here. And boom, shakalaka, look at that. All right. So we said, are you working? And in 36 seconds, we timed it together. You can see that it says, great question. As an AI, I don't work in the traditional human sense, but yeah, I can help you. Boom. All right. Now, if you want to make this more advanced, all right, pretty simple stuff. So what we can do over here, and we'll add time onto this. All right. So we'll allow extra time onto this. And we're going to add in a new tool here. We'll put Gmail. We're going to put send. AI can select to, from, message, etc. X off that. Pause the timer. That took us 47 seconds in total to build out an AI agent that hopefully can send us emails. But let's test this out and see if it actually does it. All right. So I'm going to say send an email to me at juliangoldie.com telling him how crazy it is that I just built an AI agent in 47 seconds that can automate my emails. So let's see if this works. It looks like we might, it says no endpoints here. Let's just double check that actually works. I'm going to switch over the APIs to V3 or 3.2.4. We'll see if that works. That seems to actually be working. Wait for it to load. It's using the Gmail. It's sending it over. You can actually see what it's doing and how it's doing. So if you go over here, you can see the output, the response, etc. And we have sent the message. Beautiful. All right, incredible. We'll put the output right here. It says the email has successfully been sent. Subject equals mind-blowing AI agent in 47 seconds. And look at that. We've got the sent email right there. Mind-blowing AI agent in 47 seconds. Hey, Julian, I just had to share this with you. I built an AI agent in literally 47 seconds that can automate my emails. How crazy is that? The future is here in its world. Let me know what you think. The actual writing is super nice as well. It feels like really humanized. And it is way more interesting than most emails I've read this week, to be honest with you. So this is just wild stuff. All right. So just to recap here, I've shown you how to build games in one single prompt that work perfectly using simple prompts like this. I've shown you how to build apps and tools that are more beautiful than most software developers can do in like the space of a few clicks. And I've also shown you how to automate and build a chatbot in 36 seconds that's completely free and answers your questions. And also how to build an email agent that automates your emails in 47 seconds and sends emails that are better than humans and far better than most assistants you're going to hire. Right? And we did it in 47 seconds. We timed it together. Wow. Crazy stuff. All right. So next up, let's keep it rolling, peeps, because it's not enough to end it there. All right. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go over to Visual Studio Code. Now, if you don't have this set up, I've got full SOPs on it inside the AI Profit Boardroom, link in the comments description, but just go to code.visualstudiocode.com and you can download this for free. Once you've done that, then you're going to go over to Visual Studio Code. I personally prefer RuCode, to be honest with you. And what we can do in here is we can start automating and building out, like, for example, websites, right? For example, if we go to settings over here, OpenRouter, and then you can see we can select between the different API keys. So actually, I think it's better to type in V3. That seems to come up with the option better and quicker. So we can type in V3, and it'll come up with DeepSeek chat V3 0324:3. All right, so that's a free API key if you want to use a free API key, like you can see. Doesn't support images or computer use, but it can code for you. All right, so we're going to hit done. And then what we're going to do over here is we can say, okay, create a landing page for my SEO agency. All right, beautifully designed, modern, plus interesting. Okay. And what we can do inside RuCode is this is really good for building projects locally. So for example, if you've got a big website that you want to automate with AI, then you can use the API key that's free from OpenRouter, plug that into RuCode and Visual Studio Code, and then start automating and building stuff out. And it shouldn't cost you a penny, my friends, all right? Now, this is a beta API. It just came out, like, I think about 24 hours ago. So it may be slower than most things that you use, but it's free. You can build it locally. It doesn't cost you anything to do. It's very quick and easy to use. You don't need any coding experience, and you can just automate and build websites like you can see right here. So let's wait for this to load and we'll see what we get back. So yeah, you can see now he started coding out the project. It's even come up with a name for our SEO agency. So it's put Elevate SEO, and it's just going to start building out the HTML, the CSS, and the JS. So this is really powerful. You might be asking as well, can I use this for rebuilding my website as well? The way that you would do that is you would take your existing content, you would download it as a project, and then you can open up that project folder inside RuCode or Client or Visual Studio Code and edit the website from there. Now, always keep a backup. This could mess things up, but that's a cool thing because if you download it and use it locally, then you can edit it later, or you can push it to a GitHub or whatever you want, right? A private GitHub, and host the project files right there. But it's so easy to automate and build stuff, for example, websites or landing pages directly using this process. Pro tip for you as well, just whilst we're waiting for that to load, is that if you actually go into OpenRouter and you select Gemini 2.5 Pro, you can use the latest API key from Gemini 2.5 Pro, and that's even more powerful for automating and building stuff offline than DeepSeek version 3. But if you want to build out websites or build anything with DeepSeek version 3, go ahead, my friend. I'll show you exactly how to do it, all right? So it's building that out step by step, like you can see right here, really easy and simple. It's now coding the CSS, so it's got the HTML, then it's going to do the CSS. You can switch between the tabs at the top, like you can see over here, and that does not take long at all. All right, so I've shown you how to build agents, how to build websites and landing pages. I've shown you how to, for example, build out games, shown you how to build out email assistants, and also how to build out apps as well, all right? Last thing that I want to show you is how to build out workflows and automations using Make.com and DeepSeek, all right? So if you want to do that, pretty simple as well. I would actually say that Make.com is easier to get your head around than NA10. And this is a free tool if you only do 1,000 operations per month. What you can do is create a new scenario over here, and then you can just start building out whatever you want using, for example, like Google Sheets or whatever, and OpenRouter. All right, so if we type in OpenRouter over here, create a chat completion, you can connect your OpenRouter API key to this module over here. Then inside this section, you're going to type in DeepSeek, and as you can see, you can select between these free models of DeepSeek, all right? So what you're going to be using, if you want to use the latest version of DeepSeek V3.1, is select this option right here. It is free to use. You can hit save, you add a little message, we'll add the message role as user, and then you can connect this to, for example, like WordPress, all right? Create a post, boom shakalaka, you can just automate stuff like that, right? If you want to see an example of that in action, I'm going to discard that. Number one, you can actually get my best make automations inside the AI Profit Boardroom. So if you actually type make.com here, go to the classroom. We have 12 different DeepSeek Make AI automations right here. So for example, we've got a blog creator and a Telegram bot, but we've also got 10 more make templates right here that you can just import if you just want us to give you the templates, right? But if you want to see an example of it in action, let me show you how that works, all right? So if we scroll down here, we're going to take a look. We've got the DeepSeek V3 content creator example, and let's just check what we got here. All right, output and HTML, okay. So we've got a Google sheet with a bunch of keywords. That's going through OpenRouter, and it's using DeepSeek V3, as you can see, and then that's going to plug that over to WordPress, all right? So basically, we're automating content creation, and we're taking a Google sheet, creating AI content, posting it onto WordPress. Now, if you want to test an example and you want to see, okay, how do you do this? So you can choose a keyword manually off the list. So we'll choose manually over here. By the way, I always recommend like content quality control in your content before you publish it. But just as an example, we can put like the keyword Newark SEO from our spreadsheet over here, and then we'll just run this through OpenRouter and the example workflow right here. All right. So what you can see now is we've built out a very linear workflow where we're taking keywords from Google Sheets. It's now going to create the content, and then it's going to go over to WordPress. Now, if you want to see an example of what I built yesterday with that whilst it's loading, because it is going to be quite slow. It's a beta API. Everyone's using it for free, all right? So it's going to be a bit slow when you're using this stuff. But if we go to the post section over here and you want to see an example, let me show you an example from yesterday. So this was created yesterday when I was messing around with this stuff. We'll click on preview. And if we open this up, we've got the content as an example right here, published onto WordPress, right? Really simple and easy. Literally use the same workflow as we've got right here, and it was simple stuff, right? That is super slow, but again, it's because everyone's releasing it and using the API key, and also it's in beta version as well. So you now know how to build anything with AI, right? Just to recap, you've got DeepSeek and the chat. You've got AnyChat and the Hugging Face canvas right there. You've got N8N one-click AI agents, and you can build pretty much anything you want with that. You can use make.com, create nice little linear automations like so. You can go on to Visual Studio Code and Recode and use the API key from DeepSeek 3.1 right there as well. So anything you want to build is right there. The only limit is your imagination and time. And once you set up these automations, they do change everything for you, right? They change everything for your business. They save you hundreds of hours. They're really easy to set up. And you can even just download the templates from our community and then import them right there. Thanks so much for watching. If you want to get all of my best workflows, templates, etc., using DeepSeek, we've got a 3-hour course in there on how to make money and save time with AI and DeepSeek. We've also got courses on Manus and N8N agents and everything else. Feel free to get that inside the AI Profit Boardroom. Prices are going up this month. It's a community dedicated to making more money and saving time with AI. So make sure you lock in your legacy price now before prices go up. And also inside the classroom, it comes with our best automations on like social media, email, 10 agents, AI trends and updates, SEO automations, 10 templates, a crash course on AI, plus all of our best SOPs and workflows get updated pretty much daily. So if you want to get that, link in the comments description. It also comes with a community. So you can post in the community and ask any questions you have and get answers to your questions like you see right here. And then also you can jump on the weekly Q&As if you want to jump on live call with us and ask any questions you have. Link in the comments. And if you want to get a free one-to-one SEO strategy session, feel free to get that link in the comments description. We'll show you how we take websites from 0 to 145,000 visitors a month and generate hundreds of thousands of dollars in sales and autopilot. On this free link building acceleration session, you get a free SEO domination plan. So this will be custom, tailored to you and your business. We'll be able to answer any questions you have one-to-one, and you'll learn how to 10x SEO traffic based on what's working for us and our happy clients, like you can see right here. Feel free to get that link in the comments description. Google Gemini 2.5 versus DeepSeek V3.1. All right. So in the last 24 hours, Google Gemini have just released their latest model, which is Gemini 2.5 Pro Experimental. As you can see right here, you can actually get free access to it. And you can also access DeepSeek as well for free. So they have DeepSeek V3.1, and that is available to access at deepseek.com. You can also get free APIs for both of them, and we'll be testing those out in a second. And basically what we're going to be doing today is just comparing them side by side. So these are the two latest AI updates, the two biggest ones in the game, I would say. And today we're going to be testing them out side by side and seeing which one performs the best. Now, the first thing that we're going to kick off with, because I like to give AI a challenge, is by coding a game. All right. So let me pull up an example right here. What I'm going to say to both of these models is make me a captivating, endless runner game, key instructions on the screen. P5JS scene, no HTML. I like pixelated dinosaurs and interesting backgrounds. Now, I could use it inside Google Gemini, but this is like the paid version, right? This is the advanced paid version. I want to keep it fair. I want to keep it even Stevens on this comparison. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up DeepSeek V3 side by side versus Gemini 2.5 Pro and compare which model performs the best. Now, one thing to note here is that DeepSeek version 3.1 is not a reasoning model, right? Whereas Gemini 2.5 Pro is a reasoning model. So there is a significant gap between them, but I've been getting this request to compare them both side by side and compare the latest reasoning models. So let's see how they perform. I'm going to hit enter on both of them. So we'll give them exactly the same prompts right here. The other thing that I was struggling with yesterday, I don't know if anyone else had the same problem as soon as this came out, was that actually with DeepSeek V3.1, after they released a new update, tons of people were on the website, right? And so the servers were absolutely rinsed. It was super slow responding to us. So let's see if it gives us better responses today and how it performs. Here's an example of the difference between a thinking model and a base model. So this base model with no thinking, it just jumps straight into answering the question. Whereas, for example, what you can see with Gemini 2.5 Pro is that it really thinks things out before it does anything, right? And it's going to spend about 10, 20, maybe even 30 seconds doing that before it finally comes up with the output. So we've got this back right here. We've got the example, and it's finished the outputs before DeepSeek. So it's actually a lot faster. Bear in mind, this is free, but Gemini 2.5 Pro is a lot faster at getting back to us and typically smarter as well. And it gives us instructions on how to run it as well. So you can see how much slower DeepSeek V3.1 is. Now what we're going to do is we're going to test this out. So we're going to copy the JS from Google 2.5 Pro experimental. We'll plug that in and we'll open this up. All right, so we're going to hit preview. So open this bad boy up, see how it performs. And there we go. We've got the game ready to go. All right. That was pretty amazing, incredibly easy to set up, works perfectly. Actually quite a fun game as well, that's addictive. So I'm going to close that now. And now we have the output back from DeepSeek as well. So let's copy that JavaScript over here. So let's go into this, we'll plug it in, we'll open this up. So this is the version from DeepSeek instead. Let's see what we got. Not bad actually. Which one would you prefer? I actually think that look at it's not bad. It's quite hard to see the score in the UI right there, but I do prefer the design. Like, and it's got more flying objects. For some reason, it put game over there when we didn't have a game over. It's got differences between night and dark, but it's broken. Look at that. I've not done anything, and it just broke and said game over for no reason. It seems to switch between night and dark, like in between each night and day, in between each go. But there's not many enemies coming here as well, so it's not as addictive as a game. All right, so I'm going to say Gemini 2.5 Pro won there, but not bad at all. Not bad at all. I'm impressed by DeepSeek V3.1's response right there. Pretty good stuff. Next up, what we're going to do is we're going to compare this for the content creation. All right. So I'm going to grab an example prompt from the AI Profit Boardroom, and this is going to be my content prompt. All right. So we're going to grab this. So we'll copy this, as you can see. So this is one of my favorite prompts for writing SEO content. And we're going to run this through Gemini 2.5 Pro, as you can see. And we'll put keyword equals SEO training in New York. And then we'll do the same inside DeepSeek V3. And we'll see which one creates the best content. One of the strange things here is like DeepSeek has just gone off and started creating a HTML page, which doesn't really make sense because we only want an optimized article. I know why. It's because on the prompt it says create an HTML at the end. That's okay. All right, we'll see what the performance comes back with in a second. For sure, Gemini, even though it's a thinking model, this is way faster than DeepSeek. Look how much quicker it is at responding versus DeepSeek. This already finished. DeepSeek is still going. All right, so we're going to test this out now. We'll grab that content, the HTML, and we'll plug it into the preview over here, and we'll see which one performs the best. All right, so if we compare the titles, we've got the Gemini 2.5 Pro output over here, and we have the output from DeepSeek version 3 on the right-hand side, okay? So if we compare the output, first thing that I would say is that the title is pretty bad from Gemini Pro, right? So it said, real SEO training in New York, stop guessing, start ranking. Pretty average, to be honest with you. SEO training in New York, the fast track to dominate in search, not bad at all. Honestly, Claude can write much better headlines than both of these, but you get the point. And then what we're going to do from here is we'll compare them side by side. So if we look at the first line, DeepSeek just feels a lot more humanized in its content writing. So for example, we see here it says, need SEO training in New York that actually works, not just theory, but battle-tested strategies from someone who's built a 7-figure agency. Like, that is not bad at all, as that's better than most humans could do as an introduction. If we look at this, it's like looking for effective SEO training, effective being like a weird rule, because your website's buried somewhere on page 10. Okay. Tired of SEO gurus selling you fluff, feeling overwhelmed by conflicting advice. Yeah, I get it. I just don't think that's as convincing versus DeepSeek's output right here. And then I really like this bit. So here's the truth. Most SEO courses waste your time. Mine won't. And it's all personalized to me and what I sell, and it's already selling me from paragraph 1. So I would say the output from DeepSeek version 3 actually wins in terms of writing content humanization. I would say both are not as good as the typical content that I get back from Gemini 2.5 Pro, but you get the point. So in terms of coding, and this makes sense. So in terms of coding and building stuff out, Gemini 2.5 Pro definitely seems a lot better, right? In terms of writing content and humanizing it, DeepSeek version 3 is outperforming both, all right? So let's come on to another example. And this time, I'm going to say there's a tree on the other side of the river, and I need to pick its apples in winter, okay? And then we'll say, but the river is frozen. What do you recommend? All right. And what we're looking for here is it's like a reasoning challenge. So we're trying to figure out, okay, can it come up with solutions? Can it figure out that the trees actually don't have apples in winter and that sort of thing? But we'll see what it comes back with and see which one. Now, honestly, Google Gemini 2.5 Pro should smash this, all right? So you see here how the first thing the Gemini 2.5 Pro recommends is like assess the apples first, mate. Are they like even worth it? Because most apples ripen in late summer and winter. Apples still on the tree in winter are likely frozen, rotten, overripe, or damaged. All right, so first things first. Like, why would you even be picking apples in winter, mate? That's what it's saying. Whereas, for example, if we go over to DeepSeek version 3, it just doesn't figure out. So it's like, let's check the ice thickness. Let's get over the river. It doesn't really recognize that actually in winter, there are no apples on the tree. So you can see the difference here. This is certainly a lot better for reasoning, a lot smarter. Also for speed here, it's a lot faster, right? It's a lot faster when we get the outputs. So let's keep going right now. So in terms of, just to recap here, in terms of coding, Gemini 2.5 Pro wins, right? For reasoning, Google wins. And for writing content, DeepSeek version 3 wins. So now what we're going to do is we are going to test this out for the API, all right? Now, the way that we're going to do this is I'm going to go over to OpenRouter keys, and I've created an API key from OpenRouter, all right? And then what we can do inside Visual Studio Code is we can say to root code inside the settings, use Gemini 2.5 Pro Experimental for now, and we'll say create the best possible SEO ROI calculator you can, both for UI and functionality. All right. And that's going to use the API key from Gemini 2.5 Pro, as you can see. And you can see here that actually the API request has failed. So even though this key is free to use inside OpenRouter, it's actually not working inside Klein when we test it out. Now, if we switch to the settings and we'll test if DeepSeek's works. All right, so we'll switch over to DeepSeek, and then we're going to use V3.1, which is the latest update. I'm going to go give it exactly the same prompt. Start new chat. Same prompt, we're using DeepSeek here. We'll see if this works. Here's a moment of truth. Which API key works? Taking its sweet time. Yeah, so you can see here it's finally getting back to us. It's super slow, to be honest with you. If you're using the free version of DeepSeek, super slow. Look how slow that is to start creating stuff. Now, let's test it out versus Google, all right? So we're going to go over to select Google Gemini inside the API key section here. Just going to cancel this. So we'll cancel that task. We'll go over to the API key, and then what I'm going to do is select Google Gemini. I'll grab an API key and make sure that we can use 2.5 Pro Experimental. Is that available here? I actually can't see it. Yeah, we can't use 2.5. And let's have a look inside Code. Can we use 2.5 yet for Google Gemini? No, we cannot, my friends. All right, that settles it. So DeepSeek might be slow on the API key, but it actually responds, all right? It actually works. Whereas if you're using 2.5 via OpenRouter as an API key in Client or Visual Studio Code, you can't use it, right? If you're going to be coding with these tools, then I would recommend DeepSeek V3.1 simply because it actually works. Whereas Google's API is not available inside Client or Code yet. And also with OpenRouter, the API call requests just don't work yet. So that gives you an idea. One thing I want to check as well is if we compare these side by side, it's not available yet, but I think that will come soon, which is DeepSeek V3.1, right? So for example, DeepSeek's models are open source, which means that you can host them locally. So for example, the last version of DeepSeek V3 is available to host locally with Ollama. You can't host V3.1 yet, but I think that is coming. So give it a bit of time and that'll be available, I reckon, to download and start using straight away as well. Now, again, just to be clear here, you can select Gemini 2.5 Pro on OpenRouter as the API key, but it's not working when you call it. So if we go into Code here, we'll select Gemini 2.5, all right? Hit save or hit done. We'll give it the same prompt, start a new chat. When I checked it, it was not working, all right? So let's just double check. It actually seems to be coming back and working now. Fair play to it. Oh yeah, so I suppose maybe it's a little bit temperamental, but that seems to work inside Code, to be fair. So actually, it seems like OpenRouter and Code work really well, but Client didn't seem to work right there. So if you're going to code, Gemini 2.5 Pro works, but use it inside Code, don't use it inside Client. And then you can get the API keys. And I think that'll be much better for creating content and coding. It seems to be a lot faster than DeepSeek version 3's API key as well. And again, it is free to use as well. So let's see what it comes back with now in a second. Wait for that code to load. But then it runs out. Look at that. It runs out right there. Yeah, look at that. So we actually just building a simple SEO ROI calculator. The API request gets exhausted. And also for some reason, it says it's using Gemini 2.0 Pro Experimental. But in the settings, we've selected 2.5 Pro Experimental. So that doesn't make sense either. Just something to be aware of. It seemed to get itself back on track there, but it seems super buggy. Quite slow, quite buggy. I would be careful using that for now. If you want something super reliable, just use the older versions of Google and you'll probably get better outputs and better response rates. All right, so thanks so much for watching. If you want to get access to all the prompts, tips, workflows, my best agent workflows, etc., you can get that inside the AI Profit Boardroom. Link in the comments and description. Prices are going up at the end of the month, so make sure you sign up now. This is a community dedicated to making more money and saving time with AI. And also inside the community, you can post any questions that you have and ask 543 members for help. You can also jump on the weekly Q&As, ask any questions you have. And inside the classroom here, we have a crash course on all my best AI systems for saving time and making money, along with all of these SOPs, including, for example, a 3-hour course on DeepSeek, which you can see right here. All my best AI agents and DeepSeek automations. We've got all sorts of stuff inside here, including MCP agents, root code, computer use, etc. So if you want to get the latest cutting edge stuff, all of the best stuff is inside the AI Profit Boardroom. And if you want to get a free one-to-one SEO strategy session, then feel free to get that. We'll show you how we take websites from 0 to 145,000 visits this month and generate hundreds of thousands of dollars in sales and multiplier. On this free link building acceleration session, you'll get a custom tailored game plan. You'll be able to ask any questions you have one-to-one.